We are opening a book that acts as a mirror. Tonight, we are looking at The Millionaire Fastlane by MJ DeMarco. This text is usually shouted, it is aggressive, it is angry, but beneath the anger lies a cold, mathematical reality about how wealth is actually created. Our mission is to take this high-voltage electricity and slow it down, transforming it into a deep, rhythmic hum of realization. We will not shout about Ferraris. We will whisper about leverage, control, and the mathematics of life. The title sounds like a promise of easy money. It sounds like an infomercial. But do not be deceived. This is a book about mathematics. It is a book about the probability of freedom. Most people walk through life holding a map. They believe this map will lead them to safety. They believe it will lead them to wealth. But they never stop to ask who drew the map. They never stop to ask if the map is actually a trap. DeMarco tells us that there are only 3 maps. There are only 3 financial roads you can travel: the sidewalk, the slow lane, and the fast lane. Tonight, we must identify which road you are standing on. Let us begin with the sidewalk. The sidewalk is the path of the majority. It is the path of those who live in a state of financial unconsciousness. The sidewalker has no plan. Their equation is simple: income equals spending. If they make $1,000, they spend $1,000. If they make $10,000, they spend $10,000. We often think of the sidewalker as poor. We imagine a person struggling to pay rent, and often they are. But there are wealthy sidewalkers too. We see them all the time. The athlete who signs a multi-million-dollar contract and is bankrupt 5 years later. The doctor who drives a luxury car but has 0 savings in the bank. They look rich, but they are not rich. They are merely high-income poor people. The sidewalker is a slave to their lifestyle. They are 1 paycheck away from disaster. They have traded their freedom for objects. They are driving a Ferrari, but the gas tank is empty. To the sidewalker, money is something to be consumed. It is a hot potato that must be gotten rid of as soon as it touches their hands. They believe that wealth is an event. It is winning the lottery. It is finding a bag of cash. They are waiting for luck to save them. But luck is not a strategy. Now, let us look at the second map. The map that most of you are holding right now, the slow lane. The slow lane is sold to us as the responsible choice. It is the advice of your parents. It is the advice of your teachers. It is the advice of society. It says, go to school, get good grades, get a safe job, save 10% of your paycheck, invest in a diversified portfolio, clip coupons, be frugal, and then, one day, when you are 65 years old, you will be rich. This is the promise. Sacrifice today for a tomorrow that is 40 years away. It sounds logical. It sounds safe. But MJ DeMarco asks us to look at the math. The slow lane is a plan that relies on hope. You hope you keep your job for 40 years. You hope the stock market returns 8% every year. You hope the housing market does not crash. You hope you do not get sick. And most importantly, you hope you are still alive at 65 to enjoy the money. Is that a good bet? Is it intelligent to trade your youth, your energy, and your dreams for a wheelchair full of gold? The slow lane is not a road to wealth. It is a road to mediocrity. It is a plan that guarantees you will be rich just in time to die. The fundamental problem with the slow lane is a lack of control. You are sitting in the passenger seat of your own life. You do not control your salary. Your boss does. You do not control the market. The economy does. You do not control the inflation rate. The government does. You are hitchhiking. You are betting your life on variables you cannot influence. And if the math goes wrong, if the market dips, if the job disappears, you have no leverage. You are helpless. This is the uncomfortable truth we must face tonight. The safe path is actually the risky path. because the safe path asks you to give up the one thing you can never get back: time. The slowlaner sells their time for money, and because time is limited, their wealth is limited. You only have 24 hours in a day. You can only work so hard. You can only save so much. If your road to wealth is built on your own manual labor, you will never be free. So, if the sidewalk is poverty and the slow lane is a trap, what is left? What is the third map? The third map is the fast lane. The fast lane is not about getting rich quick. It is about getting rich quicker. It is about collapsing the timeline. It is about condensing 40 years of results into 5 or 10 years. It is about divorcing your income from your time. It is about building a system, a machine, a business that works while you sleep. We are going to explore the physics of this road in deep detail, but for now, simply understand the difference in philosophy. The sidewalker consumes value. The slow laner tolerates value. The fast laner creates value. Ask yourself, which map are you holding? Are you spending everything you make? Are you saving and waiting for a distant miracle? Or are you building something that can explode? The choice of map determines the destination. You cannot take the slow lane and expect to arrive at the fast lane destination. The road does not go there. Tonight, we burn the old maps. The map is on the table. The lines are drawn. We continue our dissection of the Millionaire Fastlane, the Wealth Trinity. We have identified the roads, but before we can travel, we must define the destination. What is wealth? If I asked you to close your eyes and picture a wealthy person, what would you see? You would likely see a mansion, a private jet, a diamond watch. You would see the symbols of consumption. Society has tricked you. It has taught you that wealth is material. It has taught you that wealth is the accumulation of things. But MJ DeMarco shatters this illusion. He tells us that wealth is not a number. Wealth is a feeling, and it is built on 3 pillars. He calls them the Wealth Trinity: family, fitness, and freedom. Let us examine the first pillar: fitness. This means your health, your vitality, the energy in your veins. Imagine a man worth $1 billion. He is the richest man in the city, but he is lying in a hospital bed. He is hooked up to machines. He is in constant pain. He has 2 weeks to live. Now, imagine a young man. He has $10 in his pocket, but he is strong. He can run. He can breathe without pain. He has 60 years of life ahead of him. Who is the wealthy one? The billionaire would trade every single penny. He would bankrupt his entire empire just to switch places with the young man. Health is the first wealth. If you destroy your body in the pursuit of money, you are making a fool's trade. You are burning the house to keep the fireplace warm. The slow lane often demands this trade. It asks you to sit in a chair for 40 years, destroying your spine, stressing your heart, eating convenience food because you have no time. By the time you get the money, the body is broken. The second pillar is family. This does not just mean blood relatives. It means relationships, friends, community, love. A life lived in isolation is a tragedy. There is no joy in driving a Ferrari if there is no one in the passenger seat. The movie Citizen Kane teaches us this. A man gains the world and dies alone, whispering the name of a sled he owned as a child. The sidewalker often sacrifices relationships for status. They buy things to impress people they do not like. The slow laner often sacrifices relationships for work. They miss the soccer games. They miss the dinners. They say, "I am doing this for the family." But the family does not want the money. They want the time. And this brings us to the third and most important pillar: freedom. Freedom is the ability to choose. It is the ability to wake up in the morning and say, "I own this day." It is the ability to say no to a boss, to say no to an alarm clock, to say no to a commute. This is where the definition of wealth becomes sharp. A high-paid lawyer who makes $500,000 a year but has to work 80 hours a week is not free. He is a well-paid servant. He cannot leave. If he stops working, the lifestyle collapses. He is chained to his desk by golden handcuffs. Compare him to the Fastlaner, who makes $100,000 a year from a rental property business that runs itself. The lawyer has more money, but the Fastlaner has more wealth. The Fastlaner has the Tuesday afternoon off. The Fastlaner can go for a hike. The Fastlaner is the captain of the ship. Freedom is the ultimate currency. When you understand the Wealth Trinity, you see why the other roads are so dangerous. The Sidewalk creates a prison of debt. You are forced to work to pay for the past. That destroys freedom. The Slowlane creates a prison of time. You are forced to work to pay for the future. That destroys freedom. Only the Fastlane prioritizes freedom now, or at least in the near future. The goal of the Fastlane is not to buy a Lamborghini. That is a side effect. The goal of the Fastlane is to buy your life back. It is to build a system where money flows to you whether you work or not. Once you have that, you can protect your health. You can nurture your relationships. You can live fully. So, tonight, recalibrate your compass. Do not chase the icon of the dollar sign. Chase the Trinity. If a path requires you to sacrifice your health, reject it. If a path requires you to neglect your family, reject it. If a path requires you to sell your freedom for 50 years, reject it. We are looking for a road that honors all three. It is a harder road. It is steeper. It is covered in thorns. But it is the only road that leads to a place worth going. The final piece of the map is being revealed. We are turning the key in the lock of your perception, the producer's mindset. We have spoken of the roads. We have spoken of the destination. But now, we must speak of the driver. There is a fundamental psychological divide in the human species. It is not between the good and the bad. It is not between the smart and the stupid. It is between the consumer and the producer. 99% of the world is trained to be consumers. From the moment you are born, you are bombarded with messages. Buy this toy. Eat this cereal. Watch this movie. You are taught that the purpose of life is to demand things. You look at the world as a giant catalogue. You see a problem, and you look for a product to solve it. You see a desire, and you look for a price tag. The consumer sees a pizza and thinks, I am hungry, I will eat that. The producer sees a pizza and thinks, that costs $3 to make and sells for $20. That is a 600% margin. How is the distribution set up? Do you see the difference? One person is eating, the other person is analyzing. One person is feeding their stomach, the other person is feeding their mind. If you want to move from the sidewalk or the slow lane to the fast lane, you must undergo a violent shift in perspective. You must stop looking for what you can buy and start looking for what you can sell. This is the producer's mindset. It requires you to join the minority. It requires you to stand on the other side of the counter. When you see a late-night infomercial selling a gadget for $19.99, do not laugh at it, and do not buy it. Study it. Ask yourself, why are they airing this at 2 in the morning? Who is buying this? How much did the inventory cost? Where are they manufacturing it? When you read a blog, do not just read the content. Look at the ads in the sidebar. Look at the affiliate links. Ask yourself, how is this writer monetizing my attention? The consumer is the prey. The producer is the hunter. Most people want to be rich so they can consume more. They want the money so they can buy the boat, the car, the vacation. But the irony is, the people who have the money got it by producing the boat, the car, and the vacation. They sold so you could buy. This shift is difficult because consumption is comfortable. It is easy to watch Netflix. It is easy to play video games. It is easy to scroll through social media. Production is hard. Production requires you to step into the arena. It requires you to create something, to write code, to record a video, to build a prototype, to organize a service. And when you produce, you are vulnerable. You can be judged. You can be rejected. No one judges the person watching the movie. Everyone judges the director. But the reward for this vulnerability is freedom. MJ DeMarco gives us a simple rule. Stop digging for gold. Start selling shovels. In the gold rush, the miners took all the risk. They dug in the dirt. They slept in the mud. Most of them died broke. But the man selling the shovels, the man selling the pickaxes, the man selling the denim jeans, he got rich. He didn't care if they found gold or not. He had already made his sale. Be the shovel seller. So, as we close this first session, I want you to practice this new vision. Tomorrow, when you buy a cup of coffee, do not just drink it. Look at the cup. Who made the cup? How many cups does this shop sell in an hour? What is the rent on this building? Peel back the skin of reality. See the machinery underneath. Stop being a passenger. Stop being a wallet with legs. Become an architect. Become a creator. The fast lane is not a road you find. It is a road you build. And you build it, brick by brick, with the things you produce. We have laid the foundation. We know the 3 maps, we know the Wealth Trinity, and we know the producer's mindset. Rest now. Let these truths harden in your mind like concrete. In the next session, we will look at the mathematics of the prison you are trying to escape. We will look at the equation of the job and why it can never, ever make you free. The cage is made of math, and only math can break it. The studio is silent. The blackboard is clean. We are beginning session 2, the mathematics of prison. We have spoken of philosophy. Now, we must speak of algebra. Most people hate math. They think it is dry. They think it is boring. But math is the language of the universe. And more importantly, math is the language of your chains. If you are poor, it is because your math is broken. If you are stuck in the middle class, it is because your math is limited. And if you want to be free, you must fix the equation. Tonight, we are going to write the equation of the slow lane on the wall, and we are going to see exactly why it fails. The slow lane roadmap, the job, the salary, the savings, is governed by a specific formula. Wealth equals job plus investments. Let us break down the job part. This is where you earn your money. How is that calculated? It is calculated by multiplying your rate, how much you earn per hour or year, by time, how many hours you work. Look at that equation closely. Do you see the problem? The problem is the variable called time. Time is finite. It is the ultimate ceiling. There are only 24 hours in a day. You cannot work 25 hours. You cannot work 1,000 hours. Because the variable time is limited, your income is mathematically capped. Even if you are a doctor earning $200 an hour, you are still capped. You can only see so many patients. If you stop working, the equation goes to 0. This is called uncontrollable limited leverage. You are trading a limited resource, your life, for a limited resource, money. It is a bad trade. Now, look at the second part of the slow lane equation, the investments. This is the compound interest part, the save 10% and wait part. Here, the equation is invested capital multiplied by yield. Do you control the yield? No, the market controls the yield. The economy controls the yield. If the market crashes 40%, your wealth crashes 40%. You are helpless. Do you control the invested capital? Only barely. You can only invest what you save from your job. And since your job is capped by time, your savings are capped too. So, the slow lane equation is a trap. It is based on variables you cannot control, the market, and variables that are strictly limited, time. You cannot leverage time. You can only spend it. Now, let us wipe the board. Let us write the equation of the fast lane. The fast lane wealth equation is different. It is not based on a job. It is based on a business system. Wealth equals net profit plus asset value. Let us look at net profit. Net profit equals units sold multiplied by unit profit. Look at the variables here. Units sold. Is there a limit? If you sell a software product, can you sell 10,000 units? Yes. Can you sell 1 million? Yes. Can you sell 10 million? Yes. There is no physical limit. You do not have to be there to sell them. The internet can sell them while you sleep. Unit profit. Is there a limit? You can raise your price. You can lower your costs. You control the margin. This is called controllable unlimited leverage. In the slow lane, you are limited to 24 hours. In the fast lane, you are limited only by the size of the market, and the market is practically infinite. Let me give you an example. Imagine a massage therapist. She is in the slow lane. To make more money, she must massage more people. But her hands get tired. She can only do 5 massages a day. Her math is broken. She has a ceiling. Now, imagine she invents a new kind of massage oil. She bottles it. She sells it online. Now, she can sell 10 bottles a day, or 100, or 1,000. It takes her the same amount of effort to manage the website, whether she sells 5 bottles or 5,000 bottles. She has detached her income from her time. She has moved from a linear equation to an exponential equation. This is the secret. You do not get rich by working harder. You get rich by changing the variables. You must switch from a variable that is finite, time, to a variable that is infinite, units sold. As long as your wealth is tied to the clock, you will always be a prisoner of the clock. Tonight, look at your income source. Is it linear? Does it depend on you showing up? If you went into a coma for 6 months, would you keep getting paid? If the answer is no, you are in the slow lane. You are playing a game you cannot win. You need to find a way to impact millions, to make millions. But we will get to that. First, you must understand the prison. The chalk dust settles. The numbers remain. We move deeper into the algebra of wealth, the law of effection. We have established that you need to change the variables. You need to move from time to units. But simply having a business is not enough. You can have a business in the slow lane. If you open a small barbershop and you are the only barber, you have a business. But you are still trading time for money. You have simply bought yourself a job. To enter the fast lane, you must obey the supreme law of wealth. MJ DeMarco calls it the law of effection. The law is simple, it is brutal, and it is absolute. To make millions, you must impact millions. In a market economy, money is a reflection of value exchange. It is a receipt. It proves you gave something to someone. If you want a lot of receipts, you must give a lot of value. There are 2 ways to do this. We call them scale and magnitude. Let us look at scale. Scale means you affect a large number of people. If you sell a pen for $1, you have very low magnitude. The impact on the customer's life is small. It is just a pen. But if you sell that pen to 10 million people, you have $10 million. You have used scale to create wealth. You have touched millions of lives, even in a small way. Now, let us look at magnitude. Magnitude means you affect a small number of people, but you affect them deeply. You solve a massive, painful, or expensive problem. If you are a specialized brain surgeon, you cannot treat millions of people. You do not have the scale. But you save lives. The magnitude of your service is enormous. Therefore, you can charge $50,000 for a surgery. You can be wealthy with low scale if you have high magnitude. The problem with the slow lane, and the problem with most small businesses, is that they have neither. Consider the local coffee shop owner. Does she have scale? No. She can only serve the people within a 2-mile radius. She is geographically limited. Does she have magnitude? No. She is selling coffee. It is a commodity. It is not saving lives. It is not solving a major crisis. Because she has low scale and low magnitude, she has low wealth. She is working hard. She is stressed. But the math is against her. To break the ceiling, you must unlock one of the variables. You must find a way to serve the millions. This is why the internet is the greatest fast lane tool in history. Before the internet, to reach 1 million people, you needed a factory. You needed a fleet of trucks. You needed a television contract. It was impossible for the average person. Today, you can write a piece of code. You can record a video. You can create a digital tool. And you can distribute it to the entire planet instantly. The cost of replication is zero. If you create a software app that helps people organize their day and you sell it for $5, you have low magnitude. But if 2 million people download it, you have $10 million. You have obeyed the law of affection. This brings us to a harsh truth about passion. We are told to do what we love. We are told to follow our passion. But the market does not care about your passion. The market does not care if you love knitting. The market does not care if you love playing the guitar. The market only cares about one thing. What can you do for me? The market is selfish. People are selfish. They pay for solutions to their problems. They do not pay for your enjoyment. If you want to be rich, you must stop thinking about what you love and start thinking about what other people need. The fast lane is not paved with passion. It is paved with service. Now, it is wonderful if you can find a need that aligns with your passion. That is the sweet spot. But if you have to choose the need. Passion does not pay the rent. Value pays the rent. Look at the billionaires of the world. Did Jeff Bezos start Amazon because he had a deep, burning passion for shipping books in cardboard boxes? Or did he see a mathematical inefficiency in the retail market that he could solve at scale? He saw a need, he filled it, and he affected billions of lives. The magnitude of Amazon is high. The scale of Amazon is infinite. That is the law of affection in action. So, tonight, analyze your plan. How many people can you impact? If your plan is to be a manager at a corporation, you impact your boss, and maybe your team. That is 5 people. Your wealth will reflect that. If your plan is to open a single restaurant, you impact your neighborhood. That is 500 people. Your wealth will reflect that. But if your plan is to franchise that restaurant, or to sell the secret sauce online, suddenly the walls fall down. Suddenly, you can impact the world. Do not be afraid of the big numbers. The math works the same for 1 million as it does for 100. The only difference is your courage to play the game on a larger board. The final variable is written on the wall. The equation is almost complete. The asset versus the hustle. We have spoken about profit. We have spoken about scale. But there is one final mathematical lever that separates the wealthy from the merely well-paid. It is the difference between income and equity. The slow lane creates income. You work, you get paid. If you stop working, you stop getting paid. The fast lane creates assets. You build a system. The system has value. And that value exists even if you are sleeping, even if you are dead. MJ DeMarco calls this the asset value. Let us go back to our fast lane equation. Wealth equals net profit plus asset value. Most people focus on the profit. They want the cash flow. And cash flow is good. It pays the bills. It buys the groceries. But the real wealth, the generational wealth, is hidden in the asset value. Here is the magic trick of finance. In the business world, companies are valued based on a multiple of their profit. Depending on the industry, a business might sell for 3 times, 5 times, or even 10 times its annual profit. Let us say you build a business with a multiple of 5. If you increase your net profit by $1, you have not just made $1, you have increased the value of your company by $5. Think about the power of that. In a job, if you save $1, you have $1. In the fast lane, if you earn $1, you create $5 of equity. You are earning money in 2 dimensions at once. You are getting the cash today, and you are building the fortune for tomorrow. This is how the super rich are made. They do not get rich from their salary. Even a CEO making $10 million a year would take 100 years to become a billionaire. They get rich because they own equity. They own the stock. They own the asset. When the company grows, their wealth explodes. Not linearly, but exponentially. The sidewalker has no assets. They own nothing. The slowlaner has weak assets. They own a 401k that grows at 8%. The fastlaner has explosive assets. They own a system that grows by hundreds of percent. But there is a trap here, a trap called the hustle. Many people think they are in the fast lane because they have started a business, but they have not built an asset. They have built a hustle. If you are a freelance graphic designer, you are in a hustle. You have no boss, which feels like freedom, but you have no leverage. You cannot sell your freelance career. Who would buy it? If you leave, the clients leave. The business is you. Therefore, the asset value is zero. To enter the fast lane, you must build something that can be separated from you. You must build a machine. Ask yourself this question. Can I sell this? Can I sell my system to a larger company? Can I sell it to an investor? Can I hand the keys to someone else and walk away? If the answer is no, you do not have an asset. You have a job with a difficult boss, yourself. This brings us to the concept of the exit. The slow laner plans to exit at 65. The fast laner plans to exit whenever the asset value hits their number. Maybe that is in 5 years. Maybe it is in 10. When you sell the asset, you unlock the stored energy of all those years of work. You get the liquidity event. This is the moment the check for 5 million or 20 million hits the account. This is the moment you move from working for money to money working for you forever. You take that pile of cash, and then you become a slow laner. Yes, you heard me right. The slow lane is a terrible way to create wealth, but it is a fantastic way to preserve it. Once you have $10 million, putting it in safe bonds that pay 5% is brilliant. You get $500,000 a year for doing nothing. You are safe. You are free. You use the fast lane to grow. You use the slow lane to keep. But you never, ever use the slow lane to start. So, look at your equation tonight. Are you building equity? Or are you just paying bills? Are you building a golden goose that lays eggs? Or are you just running around trying to find eggs in the grass? Stop chasing the money. Start building the machine that makes the money. The math does not lie. If you control the variables, you control the outcome. If you control the system, you control your life. We have learned the math of the prison. We have learned the law of scale. We have learned the power of the asset. In the next session, we will open the rulebook of the fast lane. We will study the 5 commandments. These are the strict rules that determine if a business is a true fast lane vehicle or just another trap in disguise. The equation is solving itself. The blueprint is on the table. We are beginning session 3, the Commandment of Control. We have learned the math. Now, we must learn the rules of the road. MJ DeMarco offers us a framework to judge any business opportunity. He calls it CENTS, Control, Entry, Need, Time, Scale. If a business violates these commandments, it is not a fast lane vehicle. It is a trap. Tonight, we start with the first and most violated commandment, the Commandment of Control. Imagine you are driving a car at 100 miles per hour. You are flying down the highway. You feel powerful. You feel fast. But then, you realize something terrifying. You are not holding the steering wheel. Someone else is driving. You are just a passenger. And the driver is heading toward a cliff. This is the reality for millions of entrepreneurs who think they are in control, but are actually hitchhikers. To control your destiny, you must control your business. You must control the product. You must control the pricing. You must control the revenue model. And most importantly, you must control the customer. If you do not control these things, you do not own a business. You have a partnership with a monster. Let us look at the hitchhikers. These are the people who build their empire on someone else's land. Consider the YouTube star with millions of views. They look wealthy, they look successful, but they are violating the commandment of control. One change in the algorithm and they disappear. One copyright strike and their income goes to zero. One change in the ad revenue policy and their pay is cut in half. They are not drivers, they are sharecroppers. They are farming land that belongs to Google, and the landlord can change the rent whenever he wants. Consider the Amazon seller. You find a product, you sell it on Amazon, you make money. It feels easy. But Amazon owns the customer. Amazon owns the platform. Amazon sees your data. If Amazon sees you are making too much money, they can launch their own version of your product. They can bury your listing on page 10. They can ban your account with a single email. You are swimming in a tank with a shark, and you are hoping the shark is not hungry. This is the brutal truth of the digital age. It is easier than ever to start a business, but it is harder than ever to control a business. The platforms seduce you. They say, "Come to us. We have the traffic. We have the users. It is easy." That is the trap. The fast lane demands that you build your own road. You must own your website. You must own your email list. You must own your brand trademark. If you sell on Amazon, you must include a card in the box that drives the customer to your own site. You must fight to get their email address. You must move them from rented land to owned land. If you are a creator, you must not rely solely on ad revenue. You must sell your own product. You must have a direct line to your fans that no algorithm can touch. Control is binary. You either have it or you do not. When you violate the commandment of control, you are trading safety for convenience. You are saying, "I do not want to do the hard work of marketing, so I will use this platform instead." But the price of that convenience is your soul. MJ DeMarco tells the story of people who built massive businesses on MySpace, or Vine, or platforms that no longer exist. They were rich one day and poor the next. Not because they were stupid, but because they were hitchhiking. When the car stopped, they were left on the side of the road. The driver has insurance. The driver has a steering wheel. The driver can change course. If the market shifts, the driver pivots. If the hitchhiker's driver shifts, the hitchhiker dies. So, tonight, audit your business. Audit your plan. Who holds the kill switch? Is there a person or a corporation who could destroy your livelihood with a single decision? If the answer is yes, you are in danger. You must begin the process of insulation. You must build walls around your castle. Diversify your traffic sources. Build your own distribution channels. Create a brand that is stronger than the platform it sits on. Do not be the person who builds a mansion on the sand. Build it on the rock of control. The second commandment is carved into the stone. It is the filter that separates the tourists from the professionals. The Commandment of Entry. We have secured control. Now, we must judge the road itself. The Commandment of Entry states a simple paradox. As barriers to entry fall, competition rises, and profit margins fall. In other words, if it is easy to start, it is useless to start. This is where the get-rich-quick schemes trap the desperate. They sell you systems that are effortless. Fill out surveys for money, post ads on Craigslist, join this network marketing company. They tell you, no experience needed, no capital needed. Start today in 5 minutes. And because it is easy, millions of people do it. And because millions of people do it, the road becomes a parking lot. Think about the logic of the market. If anyone can do it, why should the market pay you a premium to do it? If I can pay anyone to walk my dog, I will pay the lowest price. The dog walker has no pricing power. There is no barrier to entry. But if I need a neurosurgeon, I cannot just hire anyone. The barrier to entry is 12 years of medical school. It is millions of dollars in training. It is massive difficulty. Therefore, the neurosurgeon has pricing power. Complexity is your friend. Difficulty is your moat. Most people run away from difficulty. They look for the easy button. They search Google for easy business ideas. But when you search for easy, you are searching for poverty. You are searching for a crowded room. The fastlaner looks for the hard button. The fastlaner sees a problem that is complex, a problem that requires code, a problem that requires logistics, a problem that requires a license, and they smile, because they know that the difficulty will scare away 99% of the competition. If you are willing to do what is hard, you leave the crowd behind. The crowd is not on the mountain, the crowd is at the base. Let us apply this to the modern world. Dropshipping. For a few years, everyone was talking about dropshipping. You set up a store. You sell products from China. You never touch the inventory. It sounds perfect. It violates the Commandment of Entry. Because it was so easy, everyone did it. Teenagers did it. Grandmothers did it. The market was flooded with cheap stores. Advertising costs skyrocketed. Margins collapsed. The only people who got rich were the ones selling courses on how to dropship. Now, compare that to creating a software company that solves a specific problem for dentists. You have to learn to code. You have to understand the dental industry. You have to build a sales team. You have to handle data security. It is hard. It is a headache. But because it is hard, there are only 3 competitors. And because there are only 3, you can charge $500 a month. The event is the easy part. The process is the hard part. The Commandment of Entry demands that you fall in love with the process. There is an exception to this rule. You can enter an industry with low barriers if you are exceptionally talented. Acting has low barriers to entry. Anyone can call themselves an actor. But to make millions, you must be in the top 0.001%. Singing has low barriers. Writing has low barriers. If you choose a low entry road, you must be a genius. You must be the anomaly. But the fast lane is not about betting on genius. It is about betting on math. If you choose a high entry road, you do not need to be a genius. You just need to be competent. You do not need to be the best brain surgeon in the world to be rich. You just need to be a brain surgeon. The barrier does the work for you. So, tonight, look at your business idea. Is it open to everyone? Is the door unlocked? If it is, you are standing in a crowded room. And in a crowded room, no one can hear you scream. You need to find a door that is heavy, a door that is rusted shut, a door that requires a key you have to forge yourself. When you walk through that door, you will find the space you need to breathe, and the space you need to grow. Run toward the difficulty. It is the only place where the treasure is left. The third commandment is the judge. It is the jury, and it is the executioner. The Commandment of Need. We arrive now at the most common reason for failure. You can have control, you can have entry, but if you violate the Commandment of Need, you are building a ghost town. The Commandment of Need states, businesses that solve needs win. Businesses that provide value win. Businesses that chase money fail. This sounds obvious, but it is the hardest psychological shift to make. Most people start a business for selfish reasons. I want to be my own boss. I want to make passive income. I want to work from home. I want to buy a boat. Notice the word I. I want. I need. I desire. The market does not care about you. The market does not care about your boat. The market does not care about your desire for freedom. The market is a collection of selfish individuals who only care about themselves. They have problems. They have pain. They have boredom. They are holding their money tight, and they will only open their hand if you can remove their pain. You must stop being a narcissist. You must become a servant. We are told to follow our passion. This is dangerous advice. It implies that the market will pay you to enjoy your hobby. But usually, your passion is not a need. You might be passionate about underwater basket weaving, but is there a market need for underwater baskets? Are people waking up in the middle of the night screaming, "I need a woven basket that can survive the ocean"? No. Therefore, your passion is a hobby. It is not a business. Now, if you are passionate about solving problems, that is different. If you are passionate about efficiency, or passionate about customer service, or passionate about making complex things simple, that works. But the passion must be for the process of solving, not just the activity of doing. So, how do you find a need? You do not brainstorm. You do not sit in a room and try to be clever. You listen. You listen for the sound of complaining. Opportunity is not a cloud. Opportunity is a complaint. I hate waiting in this line. Why is this software so complicated? I can never find a contractor who calls me back. This product broke after 2 days. That sound, the sound of frustration, is the sound of money. Every frustration is a gold mine. If you hear someone complain, do not join them. Do not nod your head and say, "Yeah, that sucks." Stop. Freeze. Ask yourself, can I fix this? If you can fix a problem that 1 million people are complaining about, you are rich. It is automatic. You do not need to invent a new iPhone. You do not need to cure cancer. You just need to remove an inconvenience. MJ DeMarco tells us to look for the gap between what is and what should be. Service in most industries is terrible. It is slow. It is rude. It is unreliable. You can enter a crowded market, a market that violates the Commandment of Entry, and still win if you solve the need for better service. If every plumber in your city is rude, late, and messy, you do not need to invent a new pipe. You just need to be the plumber who is polite, on time, and clean. You have solved a need. The need for trust. The need for peace of mind. That is a valid fast lane. So, tonight, kill your ego. Stop asking what the business can do for you. Stop calculating your potential millions. Ask what you can do for the business. Ask what you can do for the stranger. Chase the need, not the money. If you chase the money, it runs away. It is elusive. But if you chase the need, if you obsess over the problem, the money chases you. It follows you home. It piles up at your door. This is the paradox of wealth. To get what you want, you must help others get what they want first. It is not karma, it is mechanics. We have studied the commandments of control, entry, and need. You are building a fortress. You have the keys, control. You have the high walls, entry. And you have the water supply, need. In the next session, we will cover the final 2 pillars, time and scale. We will learn how to detach your income from the clock, and we will learn how to touch the millions. Rest now. You are becoming a servant of the market, and the servant shall become the master. The clock is ticking. Can you hear it? We are beginning session 4, the Commandment of Time. We have built a business that you control. It has a barrier to entry. It solves a need. But there is a trap waiting for you. A trap that looks like success. You can build a business that is successful, profitable, and respected. But if it demands your presence 40 hours a week, you have failed the Commandment of Time. The Commandment of Time asks a simple, binary question. Does this business detach from my time? The goal of the fast lane is not just to make money. It is to make money independently of your labor. If you are a consultant and you charge $500 an hour, you are rich, but you are not free. If you stop talking, the money stops flowing. You are tied to the plow. The fast lane demands that you plant a money tree. A money tree is a system. It is a business that exists outside of you. It is a machine that runs on its own fuel. Think about the difference between an author and a surgeon. The surgeon must be in the room. He must wash his hands. He must hold the knife. He saves a life. He gets paid. One action, one payment. The author writes a book. It takes a year. It is hard work. But once the book is finished, the work is done. The book sits on a shelf. It sits on Amazon. A customer buys it while the author is sleeping. A customer buys it while the author is on vacation. A customer buys it 10 years later. One action, infinite payments. That is the commandment of time. You must choose a business model that allows for passivity. DeMarco identifies a hierarchy of money trees. At the bottom is rental systems, real estate. You buy a building. The tenant pays you rent. It is mostly passive, but it requires capital. Above that is computer systems, software, algorithms, the internet. The internet is the greatest employee in history. It works 24 hours a day. It never complains. It never asks for a raise. It can talk to 1 million people at once. If you write a piece of code that solves a problem, that code is your soldier. It fights for your freedom every second of every day. Above that is content systems. Books, blogs, videos, intellectual property. When you create content, you are cloning yourself. You are putting a version of your brain into the world that can survive without your body. And finally, distribution systems. Franchising, Amazon. If you invent a system and sell it to others, they do the work. They run the store. They manage the employees. You just collect the royalty. This is the litmus test. Ask yourself, if I left my business for 1 year and I went to a remote island with no phone and no internet, what would happen? If the answer is the business would collapse, you have a job. If the answer is the business would be exactly the same, you have a money tree. If the answer is the business would be bigger, you have a Fastlane empire. This is hard to accept. We like to feel needed. We like to be the hero who puts out the fires. But you must fire yourself. You must design yourself out of the equation. Every time you solve a problem in your business, ask, how can I solve this so that it never happens again? How can I automate this solution? If you answer the phone, you are failing. If you pack the box, you are failing. If you write the email, you are failing. You are the architect. Stop laying the bricks. The commandment of time is the difference between being rich and being wealthy. Rich is having lots of money. Wealth is having lots of time. You can be rich in the slow lane, but you can only be wealthy in the fast lane. Tonight, look at your seeds. Are you planting corn, which must be replanted every year? Or are you planting oak trees, which grow for a century? Plant the tree. The gears are turning. The machine is growing. We arrive at the final commandment, the explosive element, the commandment of scale. We have built a system that works without you. That satisfies the commandment of time. But a system that works without you, but only makes $2,000 a month, is not a fast lane vehicle. It is just a nice side income. To get rich, truly rich, you must satisfy the commandment of scale. Scale is about leverage. It is about the ability to replicate your value without replicating your effort. Remember the wealth equation. Net profit equals units sold multiplied by unit profit. To have scale, you must be able to increase units sold virtually without limit. Think about a coffee shop on Main Street. Does it have scale? No. It is limited by physics. It is limited by the number of chairs in the room. It is limited by the number of people walking past the window. It is limited by the hours in the day. The coffee shop owner can work harder. She can raise prices, but she will hit a ceiling. She can never serve 1,000,000 coffees in a day. The math forbids it. Now, think about a coffee franchise system. If the owner decides to franchise her concept, she can open 1,000 stores. She can sell to the entire country. She has broken the ceiling. She has unlocked scale. Scale comes in two forms: reach and magnitude. Reach is quantity. It is selling a cheap product to millions of people. Coca-Cola has reach. Facebook has reach. Magnitude is quality, or price. It is selling an expensive product to a few people. Ferrari has magnitude. A specialized investment bank has magnitude. To enter the fast lane, you must have at least one. Ideally, you have both, but most small businesses have neither. The local yoga instructor has low reach, can only fit 20 people in a class, and low magnitude, can only charge $20 a class. She is trapped in the slow lane. But if she records her class and sells it as a digital course, she unlocks reach. She can sell it to 10,000 people in Brazil, Japan, and Germany. If she creates a high-end retreat for CEOs, she unlocks magnitude. She can charge $10,000 per person. You must constantly ask, is my audience limited? If your customer base is people who live in my town, your wealth is capped. If your customer base is the entire English-speaking world, your wealth is uncapped. The internet is the great equalizer of scale. Before the internet, scale was expensive. You needed factories, you needed trucks. Now, scale is free. A teenager in a basement can write a piece of code that reaches the entire planet. A writer can publish a book that sits on every digital shelf in the world. This is why we see 20-year-old millionaires. It is not because they are smarter than their parents. It is because they are using a tool with infinite leverage. They are playing on a field with no fences. MJ DeMarco gives us a warning here. Do not join a business where the scale is held by someone else. If you are a manager at a large corporation, the corporation has scale. The CEO has scale. But you do not. You are a cog in their leverage machine. Your salary is capped. You want to own the leverage. So, look at your business idea. Can it be replicated? Can it be automated? Can it travel? If you are opening a customized dog grooming van, you are limited. You can only groom one dog at a time. You cannot scale unless you buy more vans and hire more people, which is slow and expensive. But if you invent a new dog brush that removes hair instantly, and you manufacture it, you can sell 1,000,000 units. Product beats service. Service is time heavy. Product is scale heavy. If you are currently in a service business, try to productize it. Turn your knowledge into a course. Turn your method into a franchise. Turn your skill into a tool. Move from the limited to the unlimited. The map is finished. The vehicle is built. The engine is idling. But we cannot close this book without addressing the final, fatal mistake: the desert of execution. We live in a culture that worships the event. We see the tech founder ringing the bell at the stock exchange. We see the athlete holding the gold trophy. We see the musician signing the multi-million-dollar contract. We see the flash. We see the moment of victory. And we think, I want that. We mistake the event for the process. The event is the moment the wealth is realized. But the process is the 10 years of darkness that came before it. The process is the late nights coding when your eyes were bleeding. The process is the 3 failed businesses that bankrupted you. The process is the rejection, the doubt, and the lonely grind. The sidewalker and the slowlaner are obsessed with the event. They buy lottery tickets because that is an event without a process. They chase get-rich-quick schemes because they want the destination without the journey. But the fast-laner knows the truth. Wealth is not an event. Wealth is a process. You cannot skip the desert. Many of you have an idea. You think your idea is worth millions. You are afraid to tell people because you think they will steal it. Let me tell you the cold, mathematical truth. Your idea is worth zero. MJ DeMarco gives us a formula for this. Success equals idea multiplied by execution. An idea is just a multiplier. A brilliant idea is a multiplier of 10. A mediocre idea is a multiplier of 1. But execution is the base number. If you have 0 execution, 10 multiplied by 0 is 0. But if you have a mediocre idea, say a simple junk removal service, multiplier of 1, and you execute it perfectly, $10 million of effort, you have a $10 million business. We see this all the time. People say, I had the idea for Uber before Uber existed. It does not matter. You did not build the app. You did not recruit the drivers. You did not fight the city regulations. You stayed in the safety of your mind. Travis Kalanick went into the desert of execution. That is why he has the billions. And you have the story. The owner of the idea owns nothing. The owner of the execution owns everything. So, how do you survive the desert? You must avoid action faking. Most people feel productive when they are planning. They design a logo, they print business cards, they research LLC structures, they read books like this one. This feels like work. But it is not work. It is procrastination in a suit. Real work is terrifying. Real work is asking a stranger for money. Real work is launching the website before it is perfect. Real work is facing rejection. You must stop preparing to drive and just drive. The map is not the territory. You will only learn the road by driving on it. You will hit potholes. You will get flat tires. You will get lost. Good. That is the data. That is the feedback loop. The slow laner sees failure as a stop sign. Oh well, I tried. It didn't work. The fast laner sees failure as a road sign. Turn left. Not this way. Try that way. Failure is the sweat of success. You cannot build muscle without sweating. You cannot build wealth without failing. Now, look at where you stand tonight. You have the 3 maps. You know to avoid the sidewalk and the slow lane. You have the Wealth Trinity. You know that money without freedom is poverty. You have the producer's mindset. You are done consuming. You have the math. You know to detach from time. You have the 5 commandments: control, entry, need, time, scale. The theory is over. The classroom is closed. There is nothing left to learn. There is only something left to do. The fast lane is waiting, but it is an on-ramp. It is moving fast. The traffic is aggressive. You have to merge. You have to press the accelerator. Do not wait for the perfect time. The perfect time is a myth invented by the cowardly part of your brain. Start with what you have. Start where you are. Build the prototype. Call the customer. Write the code. Enter the desert. Because on the other side of that desert is the oasis you have been dreaming of your entire life. Total, absolute, unapologetic freedom. The engine is yours. Drive.